Can you see me, you all? Hmm? Get some better lighting in here. Oh, I know some of you saying. You going back to the shades? No, not necessarily. Anyway, though, let's get this here up and running, you all. And the just shall live by faith. The devil has been extremely busy lately with me. I'm going to tell you, everybody, being of not only my social media family, but any, my social media family of any subscribers, but then likewise any visitors to that being on my own personal social media channel in our chat room or comment section. And mainly or mostly of other people or persons within this very same building for these premises or properties of a public or private facility where that being a my person I'm presently at as a fellow neighbor, resident, or tenant. You know, and as I think that I had told you all last, or as I had informed your persons how, you know, I have had a housing inspection appointment scheduled for me, and now it has to be rescheduled. And because no, I missed the call of this housing inspector due to complications of the matter. Well, to say partly would be an understatement. Much rather than to speak more appropriately by saying mainly or mostly in due regard or in reference to this one particular proverbial neighbor from damn hell, the likes of dime a dozen public nuisances problem neighbors, being of whom is still acting out in a negative kind of way toward my person as he continues to assume that he has a legit personal vendetta or grudge match with me, or as he misbehaves like a really creepy, as well as that one may say, possibly acting out in a negative kind of way as that being, or possibly misbehaving, in a more creepy kind of way, then how it would be bad enough if we come off like so, acting just ever so crazy, but not necessarily stupid. And because it can't be, you know, either or, like, you know, that much more crazy or stupid if he's acting, you know, like say, or how you say, what would that much more be considered as acting creepy? Because he knows his limits, like say, for example, if he be attempting to make like he wishes to push the envelope, he knows not to let me catch him bothering with my apartment door. And because that's a hate crime, most certainly or definitely punishable by law within a courtroom setting before your average judge, jury, and prosecutor. If he were to be caught, this one character of what you call a neighbor from damn hell committing a socially unacceptable and criminally illegal act of home invasion or criminally illegal trespassing. Yeah. Anyway, though, still all the same, he goes about, some of such other at that. Not to mention be like, like as I suspect him bombing my apartment door, like worse yet, and then running away like the coward that he is. A cowardly, faggoty, demon possessed, Willie Lynch letter fulfilling Catholic nigger or nigger SOB bastard. Well, male character, you put like that. begging your pardon, you all. Excuse my late Palmer friend, forgive me for cussing and swearing. But he's really something's really wrong upstairs with this one male character, the same being of whom I had told you all about or informed your persons in a previous or so, or a couple of few prior social media broadcasts or videos of mine. And that's including the part about how at one time or another he himself had literally actually knocked upon my door after I called the police upon him in due regard to his usual, quite regular daily and or nightly routine, I say, especially within the late evening hours of making different kinds, sorts, or types of extreme and excessive noises, extreme and excessive noises, rather, correction, you know. And once again, he started up and to add insult to injury, you know. Whereas the last time I had called the police upon him as well as told the management, you know, after trying to ignore him since the last time I had done both being just that, as I have said, you know. Here it is. The management wants to confuse me with the very same male character of a public nuisance of a problem neighbor, being of whom has not only been for the longest attempting to drive me completely bonkers, as in insane or crazy, but likewise has been attempting to drive me myself, being that of my person, out of house and home, as he continues to assume in his rather twisted, warped, wicked, or sick mindset that he has a legit personal vendetta grudge match with me, and I have never done anything to him, you know. And as he himself is to be compared on to, you know, the licensed kind at the last place of residence I was at, you know, for another building address location and for a different neighborhood community, but then yet quite similar to the one I am in now as one of the residents of tenants. You know, whereas I had relocated from there, well, partly being because an increase on the rent, though I could have, you know, juggled some bills to try to make the extra rent payment, then I just decided against it, you know. Only to come here expecting that things would be better, only to encounter another male character that likes his kind. And here it is to add insult to injury when I had last complained about him after trying not to do so for the longest since the last time before the last time, you know, because I was just simply trying to ignore him. The management had confused me with him, you know, gives me as in submit to my person a leaflet, you know, and saying in more words or less. So I paraphrase, if not quote exactly. Mr. So and so, you are in violation of your apartment rental lease. And cease and desist, well, cease the noise making. Otherwise, further actions will be taken as it would be considered a further violations of your apartment rental lease on your apartment. I'm like saying, what? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Really now? I'm like saying, I'm not the troublemaker. You know, that defeats the reason and or purpose for my person having, you know, gone about moving here in the first place, and likewise to have gone about preparing for a housing inspection. Now, how in the world, how could you confuse me with the very troublemaker that has been causing me problems that I have it on record how many times I have informed your persons representing the management about him, as well as I have repeatedly dialed the emergency number 911 for the police about the problem up under these conditions, being as is the case of situation, or rather extenuating circumstances involving regarding or making reference to this proverbial neighbor from hell of a public nuisance of a problem neighbor, being of whom has for the longest has been attempting to make my life a living damn hell, and likewise attempting to, not only drive me completely bonkers, but also attempting to drive me out of house and home. How is it you're going to confuse me with him? It's like, he and any accomplices in crime, or be have any accomplices in crime, and now he causes me so much, of a mental dilemma, and then some, and affecting my physical general health at that as well. And be have any accomplices in crime or not, but then I suspect that he does. I mean, if they can't hear all that noise that he be making, the noise is different sorts of types, so far any fellow neighbors on his floor, then the only explanation to that would be that either they're deaf or they're accomplices in crime of his, because I'm not the one that's becoming or being a troublemaker, And here it is, like the management brings it to my attention, saying, I have received information from other neighbors that you are quite, the troublemaker and something. Not those that word I'm paraphrasing that you are quite a noisy neighbor and all that. I'm not saying no. You got me confused with the neighbor that's attempting to drive me crazy. With all the different noises that he makes. Y'all don't be here when he cuts up, carries on like so, I'm like, how in the world, all that I have on record of complaining to you all many times, as well as call the police. Now all of a sudden, out of the blue, this isn't the first time, Just like the second time I'm receiving a leaflet, when if anything, they should be giving him some and such, Especially like I said, say for record, when they have it on record, how many more times I have called the management on him, as well as I've called the police upon him, and he had the audacity to knock on my door at one given moment in time. And whereas I'm thinking that it's the police wanting to ask me further questions about him, it turns out to be this character of and he's like saying in more words or less. Sir, I would have appreciated that if you was having a problem with me, you could have brought it to me than to call the police. I'm like saying, if you was some kind of sane person, we wouldn't have had this problem to begin with. I wouldn't have had to call the police. If you was a sane, reasonable, rational minded person, I'm saying, sir, I have discussed matters with the police enough as is already. I have nothing to say to you, and if you want to attempt to knock on my door again, that's further harassment of my person. And here it is. Like this afternoon, he started up, he or whoever, whatever. I take it as the same neighbor, as somebody else is taking his place, moved into the apartment. I don't know, whatever. But I'm hearing the same noises, a different source of types of an extreme excessive nature, Okay. And I appreciate him knocking on my door that time, But anyway, though, he's got me at wit's end, Like I said, attempting to not only drive me completely bonkers as he makes my life a living damn hell in that regard, or attempts to do so, but also like as if he himself is attempting to drive me out of house and home. And here it is, to add insult to injury. The management hands me a slip of paper claiming that I'm causing problem. I just threw it back at the management, like so. I'm like, I said, I beg your pardon. I have it on record. Many times I have complained about this character, as well as like I have complained to you all about him. I have complained to the police. Y'all have done nothing about it, little if anything, and so forth. And then you want to bring it to me like I'm the troublemaker. You say that there are other neighbors complaining about me. I'm like, if they don't hear all that noise, all those noises he be making, either they're deaf or they're accomplices in crime of his. So it's like he's trying to flip the script, you know. The very problems that he's causing me, he wants to attempt to add insult to injury by attempting to make it seem like I'm the very one that's the cut up in the building, you know. So far as close by between me and him, I'm like, why if I never, I'm like, why I never? Well, no, well, you know what I mean. Say. So I'm like, you know, I myself am going to have to prepare to start saving up money once again, so I don't want to say shithole because I'm trying to get right with God, you know. As I have lately been touched by an angel that much more. Remember the television show by name? Well, hopefully not by the likes of this fallen angel of a demon in the flesh of a neighbor from damn hell, you know. I've had an epiphany lately. Like God is telling me, save up your money, start saving up money once again, so you can pay rent elsewhere as well as pay for moving expenses to get on elsewhere to get from this hellhole, you know. That's just exactly what it is. As the neighbor from hell, make it a hellhole, this demon in the flesh, you know. He started up this afternoon, and I had called the management to try to let them know that he's carrying on. It's like the last time he did such, like, whereas I had got to ranting and raving, yelling, you know, hoping that he would hear me. Well, I'm saying, looky here, you're disturbing my peace of mind. You're disturbing my peace of mind, and that's a violation of your apartment rental list. And you know, I'm saying some of such other thing in the spirit of the moment, you know, though it could conflict with interest or, you know, knowing that I'm in the right, but I'm like, you know, mouth not practically, not possibly like a loose cannon, you know, not so much as practically, if not possibly saying some of anything and everything to make it seem like I'm contradicting myself, you know, and all that. But I was mouthing off like so, where it seemed like I was coming off like quite a character with the words that I use. And then the next thing you know, this here landlord representing the manager been knocking on my door, or rather slips up, knocked on my door and slips up my door that little leaflet saying this and that. I'm like, well, why be? I had an epiphany then and there, you know. God tell me, get to saving up your money once again, you know, and you know, get out of this here, you know, cause like God saying, I got something better for you, you know, cause this neighbor, he's not gonna cease, you know, he's not gonna quit or stop all this nonsense on his part. He got it in for you, you know, this demon in the flesh, you know, of a neighbor from hell, you know, cause I complained about him this afternoon. The management or landlord or the representative personnel for these real estate premises and properties, public or private facility, she wasn't in her office at such given moment in time. And this character, this SOB, this bastard, is that what I mentioned? No, I'm supposed to be trying to get right with God. He started up again with the bumping and the stomping and the dropping things on the floor. Oh, my mama. I put my hand on a stack of Bibles, you know, cross my heart and hope to die if I would be lying. Fact of the matter, true. He started up again for from an hour to that, from half an hour to an hour, and we're going at it, and until I guess he got wind that I was on the phone calling up the management, you know, was he finally stopped, you know, and then only after he'd gone quite a bit of a distance with all that noise making, then and only then does the management representative for these real estate premises probably picked up, you know. Now I said, I was trying to call you for like something like say, or I say from half an hour to an hour, you didn't pick up. And she like saying, I went out to lunch. I gotta eat, you know. More words or less. So I paraphrased and I quoted that. Like, oh wow. When I really need you, to verify, confirm what I'm saying. How convenient for you to be out at some and such given amount of time. Yet, you know, you make yourself available to the very same neighbor that has been attempting to make my life a living damn hell for the longest. And then, you know, I'm wondering whether or not you're in cahoots with this character. What kind of power or money that does this person have over you? Whereas you present a leaflet on me to flip the script as a part of his plan to make it seem like I'm the troublemaker. He handed me a slip saying, you know, you're in violation of your part. I'm like, if anybody's in violation of his apartment, at least it's him, you know? Okay? Why don't you look into these matters much more thoroughly? Each and every one of them times that I have called you all, why weren't y'all taking care of the necessary business at hand? Where this could have been squashed a long time ago, and hopefully where you get down to the bottom of this here, you know, then possibly wait until this character, you know, come to you all and attempt to flip the script and make it seem like I'm the character, the troublemaker, you know, because knowing him, he probably like saying, yeah, go to his apartment now. He's ranting and raving. He's mouthing off of so after he done provoked a whole lot of stuff that, to begin with, you know, as part of his plans to come against me. Yeah, he's in his apartment. He's cussing and swearing like a drunken sailor. He's sounding like a crazy man. Blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? But then another thing happened today, you know, like, right? Whereas man, and the day is cold as damn hell, you know. Man, it's funny, you know. Either when the weather temps is cold as damn hell for a fall, autumn, or winter season, or hot as damn hell for a summer season. You know, the very people or persons who corner the market acting ignorant, insane, and impolite, etc., is blacks, you know. And the first runner up to them are Hispanics. And the second runner up to them are Asian, you know, persons of a race otherwise themselves. Yeah, because yeah, I had thought to go downstairs one time or another for the day. I think it was asked about something else that was a problematic issue. And this black person was blocking the way. I just come out the cold too, after all that cold sub-degree weather temps, you know, was just feeling like an Alaskan, Canadian, or Russian, you know, chill factor. And this black person just whoosh right past me, blocking the door to the business office downstairs for the real estate management business company, or being an affiliate or auxiliary to the headquarters, you know. And then all of a sudden, just don't even bother to say excuse me. Remind me of some time back how this other black person, and whereas one was supposed to be discussing matters with the management and landlord about her own personal business for her survival as a tenant or so. And one minute she's at the business office discussing matter with the business company real estate rep, and I'm in the mail room trying to get open my mailbox to see what kind of mail I got, you know, regardless of whether or not I had a check or anything like that, or a refund check, or whatever, you know, or a check after having been going about the necessary business and doing, or after I could have done or did, or regardless whether or not I'm still capable of doing or could possibly do community service and get a check or get a refund check for something else, you know. So I'm looking at my mailbox, like, right? And this black person, this black person comes out of nowhere, bum rushed the mailroom the very minute. Was at first this other black person was at the door of the business office discussing matters with the managing personnel while one's business door open. Next thing you know, one is at the mailbox. I'm barely open up. No, come to think of it, no, I'm thinking about another time too. All the same, I didn't even get the chance to really open up my mailbox and look in. If I did, just so little, I couldn't retrieve my mail. All of a sudden, excuse me. Like, what? I'm like, I didn't bring it to that person like that, but I'm like saying, I'm thinking in my head though. You was at the business real estate management office for the floor here, for the ground floor level of this building. I mean, if it was all that serious for you to get your mail, now all of a sudden, why didn't you get it? I'm saying, why didn't you get it done that much earlier? I mean, you seen it, you be having quite a bit of a conversation with the real estate agency personnel. Now, why all of a sudden, the very minute I come to the mail room, get my mail, you got a bum rush, like this person has something going, attempting to send me on an emotional roller coaster, like a neighbor from damn hell, And then this afternoon, like, right. So I'm like coming into the building after having got me quite a few food item products, regardless of whether, the money to be paid for some of us come up out of my own pocket or I had gotten it from, somewhere like a soup kitchen or a food pantry or whatever I said. So I'm coming back to the building, come in, and after having been out there, in that hawk for these weather temps, as we have it for the Midwest. And and I had run into this other black person on mass transit or public transportation system. Might well have been a train for that matter. That's on a bus, all the same. And just as I entered the building, where one was supposed to be checking one's mail, I'm into the elevator. And there's somebody already at the elevator, got one's food item, products and supplies on a counter outside the elevator. And then this other person come. These two persons were black themselves. And like I'm opening the door, and then all of a sudden that person is right there where before one was in the mail room, And whereas before then I asked the other black person, do you want to get on? Do you want me to help you with your stuff and so forth? And that person is like saying, no, my kid's supposed to be helping me. And then like the other black person come out of nowhere, and this person saying to the other black person, oh, you can get on. And then that black person saying, no, that's okay. It ain't that serious. Something like that. I'm like, what? Like as if one had all that planned, to send me on an emotional roller coaster oneself. It's always blacks that corner the market. Or should I say niggers? Make the rest of us blacks look bad, Willingly / fulfilling niggers are niggers, I mean, of all races of persons that of all races of persons that have not really given me the business so much compared to others. I mean, white people, white persons, they have never mistreated me so much more like other races of people's persons, especially when it comes to black persons. It would go double, triple be said. I noticed that, Sure, there's good and bad in all races of people's persons, but white persons are some of the least likely to have treated me. I'm saying this from my own personal experience. So if anybody was to say, white man, it's the devil, all that garbage, I'm like, speak for yourself, man. I know what it's like to have been treated funky by Asian persons and by Hispanic persons, and especially black persons. There were times that certain white persons have treated me badly, but that just, every now and then, not as much as these other races of people's persons, Okay? Especially when it comes to black persons, and they would be the worst to be considered when it comes to when you make a comparison, when you're talking about some white persons are closet racist rednecks or closet Klan or closet neo-Nazi. all that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, well, certain blacks are the worst Klansmen than the much more familiar Klansmen, racist rednecks, or white people that discredit their own Caucasian racist people for being that. Cause you're the black Klansman. I ain't talking about the movie flick either. You're the black Klansman of a wilderness letter fulfilling nigga sellout that would do the job of white people's racist redneck closet clans man falling for little or nothing. You the black clans man that blends in with the rest of us, you know. Prove yourself to become or be a worse threat to a black race of people's persons. On my mama, I say. Fact of the matter. You hear what I'm saying? On my mama. You know? So I don't want to hear all that gobbledygook, that F and BS, that crap about, you know, oh, yeah, a white man is the devil. You know, knowing how blacks are against their own that much more, you know. Okay? The most stupidest, the most sickest race of peoples or persons in the world, you know. Though we're supposed to be the original Jews, you know. But the white Jewish have proven themselves to respect, you know, our identity that they stole from us, our culture that they stole from us, our land that they stole from us, more than we would appreciate it for ourselves. Because if we did, we wouldn't have been put on all these slave ships and transported across the great waters of the Atlantic to become one of the most despised, or that's probably an understatement. We wouldn't have become from there the most despised race of people's person that there ever was. Don't get me wrong, I mean, there's good and bad in all race people person. And a lot of white person have stolen black scientific inventions and so forth, but we are some of the most uncivilized, you know, some of the most uncivilized Benedict Arnolds that there ever was. You know what I'm saying? So I come into the building, this black person, nah, I'm getting on that. Whisper to the other. Can't even wait till I get on the elevator before they get to starting up talking even more about me. I hear he's like, if I am kind of, you know, then think of that's attempting to drive me up the wall, completely bonkers, you know, like, right? Okay? Because I'm like, from there, well, suit yourself, you know? I mean, you could have stayed in the mail room and wait till I get to the elevator. Now, all of a sudden, you want to catch the elevator. I seen the same black person on the same transport of a mass transit public transportation system with as many different bus and train routes before one had entered the building. It's like they planning some such stuff, you know. And there's certain neighbors on the same floor here, not to mention elsewhere, like that public nuisance problem neighbor that I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them, you know. And like if I would be on an electronic device, like say of a laptop computer that I'm on now or on my cell phone or something, you know, all of a sudden I find myself nodding out like somebody fumigating my place of residence atmosphere with some kind of, you know, knockout gas or something, just so they could, you know, from there, once I would have nod out, so they could check out my electronic device and check out my information on there and possibly make me become subject to experiencing a severe, serious case or situation of identity theft, you know. So now, whereas I'm going to have to, you know, log out. The very minute I feel myself nodding out when I'm on an electronic device, whereas I got it up and running with frequency transmission, I'm going to have to log out because I suspect that has happened, you know. After I were to be rendered unconscious via some kind of knockout gas, somebody will fumigate my place with. Then they creep into my place, making a home invasion or criminal trespass and move, and then be checking out my computer, what's on my computer, and then so okay, we can use this for ourselves, benefit us, and all that. Trying to get the lowdown 411 on me and all that, you know. Or they could be like other likes of a closet sexual predator, animal monsters, or rapists and pedophiles and so forth, you know. Then I know that most recently I'm waking up one morning and my head is hurting. I'm like, what? And I feel that it's like somebody took something, stuck something in my head, you know. That wouldn't be the first time. Like one given time, another, I woke up and I noticed marks on my arm, like cuts or abrasions, like somebody cut me with something. Like saying, like somebody sicked the dog on me, had a dog bit me. Like what in the world? This is that kind of hellhole of a place, of a building that is, you know, where I'm at for a place of residence, you know, with neighbors like these here, you know. Trust me, you don't want to have any neighbors like what I have here, you know. And it would seem like, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, no, I think no, I like to think that is the case situation, but with all things considered, you know, when I was living on State Street, close to State Street in another neighborhood that was not so much as one that is what you call up and coming or one of the much more prosperous neighborhood community, but it don't necessarily mean it has to be less crime ridden. When I was living on State Street, you know, I don't think I had all these problems until I moved to one of these much more prosperous and multiracial neighborhood communities. When I was staying on State Street, you know, though they say a predominantly black neighborhood community, is not that all predominantly black neighborhood communities or predominantly ethnic minority neighborhood communities should be considered as being 9 times out of 10 or more often than not a crime ridden one. Well, I was in kind of crime ridden one, but I didn't have any problems so much as with my neighbors. You know, they weren't going about with all the ridiculous noises they were. I moved to the neighborhood like this when I'm at, like the other one I was at. I'm hearing all kinds of midnight cowboys and spooks that sit by the door. Even on this floor level, persons, they got a habit of slamming doors, you know, and garbage disposal room doors as well as slamming apartment doors and so what. Not to mention bothering with other neighbors' apartment doors, you know. The only reason why I know, and some of you could say, then why did you move from there? Because the building was in transition, you know. They wanted more money, you know. They wanted more money as it changed hands. Real estate owner, proprietor, or whatever I would say it, you know. Otherwise, I would have stayed there. I would be going through these changes, you know. And I would write next to a street where I could easily just walk about 1 or 2 blocks to catch the bus, you know, or catch it going to a train station, you know. But here it is. I'm in a what you call a multiracial neighborhood community, and that's supposed to be one of the much more prosperous one. But I got neighbors from damn hell who are out of this world, straight up, you know, like right. Especially when they get to bottom with other neighbors' apartment door. There was one time, and I think I told you all about this here in one of my former previous social media broadcasts or videos. One day I woke up in the morning. I went to my washroom and I noticed that my washroom window was unlocked. With my washroom window is positioned where the fire escape is like right opposite of my washroom window. And I wondered, it might have been open all night. I wondered if somebody come in on me and could not only have, I mean, I wouldn't mind it so much if they had gone to my personal effects, belonging to possession, but I'm thinking they could have worstly bothered with me personally. So I'm having to pay a visit to a local vicinity area neighborhood community hospital and then do follow up at a medical clinic. You know, because I get thinking somebody could have did the freaky deaky, among other things with me, you know. Yeah, this is that kind of build, you know. This is kind of that kind of build, you know, and mainly or mostly when it comes to other blacks in this build, you know. funky or foul as damn hell. Kind of neighbors you don't want to encounter or be associated with, especially one like down the hall, like right across from me, and to the side, on the same floor level, making like midnight cowboys and want to be creeping around other neighbors' apartment doors and bothering with other neighbors' apartment doors, and then this other neighbor up above me, whereas the one that I had at a different place of residence, address location where I used to live, he was living below me, but carrying on with the same old nonsense, making different sorts of types of extreme and excessive noises, attempting to drive me completely bonkers likewise, and as well, attempting to drive me out of house and home, And yet I'm still having to prepare for an upcoming housing inspection, I rescheduled housing inspection after having missed the last one. I couldn't get in contact with the housing inspector then because this neighbor caused me to miss the call where she was carrying on, acting out while I was cleaning up, doing the finishing touches on my place. On the add insult to injury was the management in the building, confusing me with him, giving me a leaflet letter, or whatever, a little note saying, you are in violation of your apartment rental lease. Like I'm the one that's causing problems, from what he didn't had transpired from his plans or program to attempt to flip the script and make it seem like I'm the troublemaker, That's when I had received an epitome, a revelation, whatever. Like God is telling me, one is angel or whatever. I said, you have got to start saving up money so you can get out of this damn hellhole, You gotta save money so you can get out of here, But in the meantime, I had to prepare for this rescheduled housing appointment. Ain't that a blip? But then that's not half of what I mentioned. But I'm trying to keep it kosher. There are some funky, foul acting peeps and folks or persons ups in this county, this building. Mainly or mostly other blacks, other black persons, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them, White persons throughout my life, as I've encountered them, they have never given me so many problems as much as other races of persons, especially when it comes to black persons. Now, even when it comes to Asian persons, white persons have never given me so much problems as other races of peoples or persons. How much less as much as Hispanic persons, and especially it would go double, triple be said, as well it would go without saying when it comes to black person. Never has white persons have given me so much trouble or problems and or disrespect or ignorance, insanity, and impoliteness or stupidity, sickness, and or rudeness as much as all those other races of people's persons, including when it comes to Asian persons, But especially that much more, let it be said on the state for the record, when it comes to black persons cornering the market, when it comes to all that negativity, disrespect, confusion, ignorance, insanity, and impoliteness, stupidity, sickness, and rudeness, The devil is a liar and the truth is not in him, Nothing like a black devil to make your day worse than any other races of devils. So if a black person be talking all that yin yang, all that yada yada yada, woo woo woo, a white man is the devil, blah, 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 I'll be like ready to say, well, what part did you play in it to make a white person a devil? Don't get me wrong, there's good and bad in all races of people's person, but I know from my own personal experience what blacks is like, But don't even come my way with all that, I remember at one time or another, that just reminded me, I'm going to close shop. I ran into this one black brother at something getting on time or another. I can't remember when this was, what year that was. That's irrelevant. But the fact of the matter is, the point I'm trying to make is like, he got an attitude with me at one given one time enough when it went on. Like he had greeted me on the sidewalk tomorrow. What up, black man? I said, I'm not a black man. And then he said, well, you a damn fool. I was like, no, I'm not a black man. I'm not a white man. I don't consider myself as being of a race. I'm just a Christian. And even so an American, but especially a Christian, you know. So it's not I myself that have the problem. I didn't bring it back to him like that, you know, so much more in words. But I was more kosher, more discreet about it. But I really wanted to tell him, just like, I'm not the one that had the problem. You had the problem. The very minute, people or person could look past all this here race. I'm this race, or I'm that race, and just think I'm an American, you know, become colorblind. Maybe then we could do away with all these race wars and race riots, like Oklahoma City and then some, you know. Because we all belong to the same race, regardless, being of the human species, you know. All this yada yada. Christ, our Lord and Savior, the Messiah, deliverer, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Prince of Peace. He was a black man. So what? Is that important? Could have been a white man. It don't matter, because race is not going to save you. But his blood sacrifice, his giving his life upon the cross of Calvary, regardless of what race or person he was, you know. I don't recall in God's word where it said, being black gets you saved, or being white gets you saved. All I remember is the blood sacrifice of our Lord and Savior gets you saved. Hell, could have been a green moon marching from outer space for that matter, in human form, you know. That's irrelevant, just as long as he got the salvation plan, his blood sacrifice, giving his life upon the cross of Calvary to save the lost souls of man. So when the person be talking about black Jesus and all that, I don't want to hear that, man. Being black ain't going to save you, man. Like being white ain't going to save you. Because when they come and establish this here, you know, NWO and OWG, be it the result or development of a vaccine, be like considered as the mark of the beast or whatever. When they get to establishing this NWO, New World Order, or OWG, One World Government, and they got their rules and regulations and policies and procedures and protocol to decide, are you one of them or are you one of us? If you ain't got that mark of the beast, the 3 6s upon your forehead or on the palm of your hand, they don't care if you black or white. They're going to say, put his neck or her neck upon that blade in the French guillotine or burn one at the stake and so forth. They're going to consider you as a heretic, an infidel in a modern day Catholic Spanish Inquisition, because you don't have that mark. You don't have the 3 6s on your forehead, on the palm of your hand. So I would probably be one of the top 1,000 or one of the top 100 on their hit list, seeing how I'm totally against the mark of the beast, you know. They'll be hunting for me like they hunting for the original disciples of Christ back during some time of 1 AD, you know. Anyway, though, y'all, I'm going to finish up by saying, in more words or less, you know. And as I would usually give the introduction, you know, I will speak upon a subject matter, a couple, few, or 4 more for that matter, depending on how I feel. That's I'm giving moment time, and then I will get closed by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord, I hope that you would think to do so now, while the blood is still running warm in your vein, but recognize and realize what he did on the cross of Calvary, sacrificed himself so that you could go to heaven, don't have to worry about ending up in the lake of fire down here with the rest of the unsaved, lost, damned human souls or unbelievers, so that you can go to heaven, be with other believers, to not be tortured by the devil and the demon forever, but being the company of God and his angels. All right. Peace.